Hi everybody, and welcome to Tanya
and Tiana
English.
Today we have 3 prepositions for you, and there are a lot of different uses, so stick with us.
These 3 prepositions can sometimes be confusing: in, on, and at. Today we are going to explain their basic uses, and then we'll give you some of the more complicated ways to use these prepositions as prepositions of place.
So our first example is the tea bag is in the cup.
Sometimes the word in and the word on get mixed up. I have a candle that is on the book.
Okay. And for our last example, use at. It is my sister is at the store.
Okay, so let's practice these basic uses of these prepositions of place. So here's just a short quiz for you. Number 1, where is your friend? Is she in work or at work? Which one do you think it is? She is at work.
Number 2, the rock is on or at the magazine. The rock is on the magazine.
All right, and then our last one, number 3, the flower is on the basket or the flower is in the basket. Which do you think it is? The flower is in the basket. All right, so those are all pretty basic uses of those 3 prepositions, but they start to get pretty confusing, especially when we talk about them in reference to time or place. Online, you can find a chart that looks similar to this one. It tells about how when we're using the word in, we're usually talking about something that is a bigger place or a larger amount of time. When we're using on, we're getting a little more specific than that. It's a smaller place or a smaller amount of time. And then at is even more specific. We're telling you exactly where it is or exactly when it is.
So we have a few examples, and I'm going to give you some about time. The first is with in, when we're talking about a larger amount of time. So for example, April Fool's is in April, or the Great Depression in the United States was in the 1900s. Or I could say, I'm going on vacation in 2 weeks. Or we could use on for a little bit shorter amounts of time. So, for example, I'm going to see my friends on Sunday. Or April Fool's is on April 1st. Or I like to spend time with my family on the weekend. Then an even more specific example, we would use at. So for example, we have dinner at 6 o'clock. Or I go to work at 9 in the morning.
All right. Now, when we use these prepositions as they refer to place, it's similar to the examples that Tiana gave. In refers to something that is a larger place. So when we're talking about the world, a country, a city, or a neighborhood, an example would be, where in the world do you live? Or, I live in the United States. When we are talking about a smaller place, we use the word on. As an example, I might say the museum is on Main Street, or we want to go on Central Avenue. Then, just like Tiana's examples of time, when we're getting very specific, we use the word at. So if you didn't know where the museum is on Main Street or on Central Avenue, we could give the exact location. The museum is at 1522 South Main Street. So let's have some practice with these prepositions that are a little more tricky than the first quiz. We have another quiz for you. And while you're thinking about it, try to remember the triangle. In as at the top, on, and then at when you're very specific.
Mm-hmm. So number 1, Michaela is in or at Chile? Michaela is in Chile.
Number 2, my favorite childhood book takes place at the 1800s or in the 1800s. Which one do you think? My favorite childhood book, Little House on the Prairie, takes place in the 1800s.
All right. Number 3, I like to eat at or on 6 p.m. I like to eat at 6 p.m.
Number 4, the store is in or on 12th Avenue. Which one do you think it is? The store is on 12th Avenue.
Number 5, what do you do at or on the weekend? Which do you think? What do you do on the weekend?
That quiz helped you to see which ones are more easy for you and which ones are more difficult for you. Let us know in the comments below which ones are easier and which ones are more difficult. And we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.